Good morning. Happy Monday, Facebook. Jackie Broman here for TBA Law. Monday morning's short, quick legal snippet of information. So you can hear that I sound a bit congested. Yes, I came down with a cold on Friday. It's nearly gone. So hopefully this week will be a good week. I went to Wow Women in Shepparton on Sunday, so yesterday, and it was a great event for those of you in the Goulburn Valley region. You should look out for that event next year. There was, over 100 women in the room. We had some great guest speakers, high tea and lunch provided, and it's really, I suppose, great to connect with other women in the region who want to do good things for the Goulburn Valley. So today I wanted to talk about estate planning for couples without children. So when a couple has young children, obviously estate planning is very important in terms of appointing guardians for their children, making sure appropriate trusts are set up for their children, and making sure there are powers of attorney in place for someone to take care of the kids if they're temporarily incapacitated. When a couple doesn't have children, there's a whole lot of other factors in play. At least now in Victoria, there are less people who can make claims against estates. So if you go back and have a look at the video that I did about avoiding claims against estates, the categories of people has narrowed right down. So it used to be almost everyone and his dog could make a claim against someone's estate if they had helped out, like a neighbour helping out with the shopping once a week, for example. But those categories of people who can make a claim have been limited right down to pretty much spouse, children, and anyone who's financially dependent. So when a couple doesn't have children, they only have to look after each other, and they may or may not have someone who's financially dependent on them. So they do have to bear in mind if there's that obligation. But most of the time, couples without children just have each other. So they're pretty much open to do whatever they want with their estate after they've looked after each other first. So something for, everyone to bear in mind really, but particularly couples without children. If a couple passes away in an accident together, then the younger of the two is deemed to have died second. Okay, so if they can't work out the order of whom passed away, the will of the youngest person is the one that is the valid one that's proved. Why is this important? It's important because couples then should have mirror image wills where possible, right? I'll use my husband and I as an example. So if my husband and I passed away in an accident together, I'm the younger of the two of us, and hence my will would apply. Okay, so we leave everything to each other, but if he's already passed away, then who do I leave it to? I could leave it all to my family, and his family would all miss out. Okay, that's not fair, right? So in my will, just like in his will, it says if we both passed away, our estate gets divided equally and goes equally to either side of the family. So that's a special consideration. If charities are important to you because you don't actually have an obligation to look after your extended family, you would still want it to be a mirror image of each other's. So if I thought it was really valuable, for example, to leave $50,000 to the RSPCA, then I would also want it to be reflected in my husband's. So if I passed away first and then he passed away later, that would still be, my wishes would be honoured. So I suppose from an estate planning perspective for couples without children, they've got a little bit more freedom and flexibility, but they should also still consider having mirror image wills. The other thing to think about for couples without children are powers of attorney. So you don't have to consider looking after dependents in the power of attorney. Excuse me. So the power of attorney is different for different reasons for couples without children. Making sure that someone has the power to make medical decisions for you if your spouse has already passed away. So who else in your life is important enough to be able to give that power to? And also for financial management. Because you don't have other dependents that need looking after, I suppose you don't need to consider someone who might be looking after children to also look after financial affairs. So you've got a bit more flexibility about who might be suitable. But it's still important to consider, particularly if you're running a business, because the business still needs to keep running to still have value to be able to sell on. So powers of attorney are equally still as important, just for different reasons. So there you go, estate planning for couples without kids. This video, whilst live at the moment, will be posted into Facebook, so you can go back and see it later and tag anyone that you think needs to see this. So the most interesting thing, and it does apply to everyone, that if a couple passes away together and they can't determine who passed away first, the youngest is deemed to pass away second. So it's the youngest person's will that is the relevant one. So that even applies when there's a couple with children. However, in that scenario where there's a couple with children, they're obviously going to leave everything to their children. So it's not as important to consider, but very important to think about with a couple without children. So I do these every Monday. I'll be back next Monday with a short snippet of legal information for you. If you have any questions or you want me to deal with a specific topic, direct message me through Facebook, or you can go to the website and all our emails are available there. So again, my name's Jackie Bro.